So I just want to start by welcoming the new people to the Suk Zendo. It's only our second time, and so things are still pretty mobile as far as the form goes. We did a special chant this morning for Genki Takabayashi Roshi, so things are completely in flux, serving tea. Doshi says, "Oh, no tea this morning." And then I said, "Oh yeah, the tea would be good this morning." So things are moving around. This Sunday sit is an opportunity to sort of transition between a much sort of friendlier, introductory sort of opportunities that we have at our Zen open houses, both the one here in Suk and the one in Victoria. And it's an opportunity to really get the feeling of a much more sort of formal Zen sitting without little verbal cues in every transition. It's an opportunity for us to begin to engage with more formal practice, which means that rather than being told everything, sort of held by the hand and guided through everything, we're actually being asked to open up our senses, to open up our awareness to the complete activity that's going on in front of us in our training, in our Zen practice. And so that means that, like I said, the Jikijitsu is not saying, at the sound of the clappers, bow and stand up and, put your hands like this. It's assumed that by now we've given instruction at our open houses. There are resources available online that you should avail yourself of so you can become familiar with the form and accept responsibility for your practice. Because fundamentally what we're aiming at in Zen practice is accepting responsibility for your life. So we have all of these little details about how we carry a body, how we interact with the sounds and individuals and objects in the Zen Center and in our formal practice. But we don't just do this for fun. It's not just about having a nice ritual dance. The practice is about how do we investigate, how do we wake up to what we're doing in each and every aspect of our lives. So it can't just be how do we interact with the sounds and situations and individuals and objects at the Zen Center when we're doing our formal practice. But this question arises for us: how do I carry that awareness? How do I carry that responsibility for what I'm doing and what results from what I am doing into every aspect of my life? Here it's very formal, repetitive. How do I bow? How do I relate to the people who are in front of me and behind me in the walking meditation line? How I carry myself, how does, the way that I put my shoes down impact the person in front of me and the person behind me? Because I'm directly in relationship with those people. How does the way that I carry my stuff on my cushion impact the people on either side of me? Because I'm directly in relationship with those people. But this isn't just sort of like this, theoretical activity that we're doing in a Zendo. This is the fundamental teaching of Buddhism. Praticca samutpada, interdependent co-origination. We arise together. But it's not this theory that we're going to study with our brains. We have to open our eyes. We have to open our hearts. We have to become aware of what happens. What happens when I fall asleep and I'm not paying attention to how I'm walking? Every person in the line behind me falls out of step because I'm in relationship with them. What happens if I just toss my shoes off to the side? Every person after me has to clean up after me, has to rearrange and readjust because I didn't want to put my shoes there. Or not even that I didn't want to. Sometimes there's not this negative intention. It's just I'm already off to the next thing leaving a mess behind me. And it's not good and it's not bad, but what we're here to do is wake up. I leave the good and bads to each of us to decide about in our own interactions, in our own cases. But what I ask is that we wake up. We become aware of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how it impacts everyone and everything around us. This awakening is the foundation practice of everything that we're doing here. It's why we bow. It's why we have this form. It's why we walk in step. It's why we have particular ways that we use the body, use objects in this form, so that it acts like a mirror, so that we can see when everybody brings their hands palm to palm and we stand there and go, oh, there's this moment where we go, oh, geez, where was I? And that's the question. Where did I go? And having come to the realization, waking up to, I've fallen out. I've fallen out of the world. I've fallen out of harmony with the activity that's going on here. Can I simply just bring myself back into harmony? Or simultaneously does this whole critical, negative, self-bashing thing come up? Huh? Oh, damn, I missed it again. I'm no good at this. I always screw up stuff like this. I'm terrible at blah, 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 blah. Drop it. Just recognizing that we've fallen out of step, come back into step. It's simple. Let it go. Likewise, sometimes the bell rings, we're right on top of it. I've got all this form. I know it all. I'm so good. Can we just simply manifest harmoniously this activity that we're engaged in without also the added bonus of, how wonderful we are, self-inflation? This separation that pops up, and it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people focus, I think depending on our own personality, we focus on one side or the other. Some of us are more inclined to the positive, to the self-aggrandizement, how wonderful I am side. And some of us are prone and predisposed to this, what a crappy person I am and I'm no good at anything side. But fundamentally, they are just two sides of one coin. And this is the coin of self, the coin of differentiation, the self of separation, or the coin of separation. So our practice here, whether we're chanting, whether we're walking, whether we're sitting, whether we're listening, whether we're ringing bells or sounding clappers or pouring tea or offering incense or doing prostrations, is how do I completely manifest this activity? How do I completely take this self that I'm judging good or bad or whatever? How do I completely melt it down, dissolve it, let it go into the activity that I'm engaged in, so that there is no I and there is no activity anymore. There is no me and no object. There is simply this unfolding activity. The whole world, the whole cosmos manifests harmoniously as this activity in which there is no separation between subject and object, the doer and the activity that's being done. Now, there is no staying here. This experience of dissolution is momentary at best. It's an unfolding activity. And we can experience the falling into, the dissolution into, as we exhale into an activity. And then it seems like when it happens, sometimes we're so excited about that experience. It's such a powerful feeling that it like ejects a self. But this is quite natural. We can't stay in this experience of emptiness, this experience of complete unification. Immediately, subject and object appear again to face one another. We think, oh, that was cool, or oh, I really struck that bell perfectly. What a sound! And the self arises again, that judging, discriminating self. And that first thought, we can just let it go. We don't need to build on top of it. Returning to our practice, turning back in, practicing this simple activity right at the boundary, right at this critical sort of pivot between what my teacher called plus and minus. Dying into and being born out of zero or emptiness over and over again. This is the function of Zen practice. And it's a crucial dynamic. This is the crucial activity to investigate in our Zen practice, and not just in this formal practice. Our formal practice offers us this really clearly boundaried mirror, repetitive opportunities over and over again in all of these details that we engage with to see, where was I, where was I, where was I, over and over again, so that we start to develop this awareness, this presence, this ability to witness how we are engaging when we dissolve, when we arise. So that as we go out into the world, when we're having an interaction with another human being or an object, we can feel, how distant am I from zero? How far have I come into the thinking about subject and object? Is it helping? Is there anything that I can do to let go and return, to dissolve into this situation or into this relationship or into this experience, return home to the origin, emptiness? So these Sundays, we're sort of straddling a line between the friendliness and the introductory nature of the open houses and the more strict, more clear practice of Zen training. And so sometimes we may get instruction here, oh, this is how you do this. And sometimes we might get a correction here because we're entering into Zen training. This isn't a judgment of who you are as a person, but these are calls to wake up. Look at how we're interacting with the people around us, with the structure of the form, with the material objects of our world. There's nowhere else for us to go. There's nothing else for us to do. There's no more spiritual, sacred material for us to work with than whatever is in front of us right now. Whether it's our shoes, whether it's a bell, whether it's a stick of incense, whether it's a piece of lint on our cushion, that is our spiritual material. And our practice is to engage with it wholeheartedly and fully, to realize our true nature and awaken.